The crew of the Aurora's Dawn had been traveling among the stars for years, exploring distant planets and charting the edges of human expansion. For decades, they had been away from Earth, sending back only reports of alien landscapes and scientific observations. Now, after years of waiting and wondering, they were finally returning home. The ship's engines hummed steadily as it approached the familiar blue and green planet, a sight that filled the crew with relief, excitement, and an unease they could not place. From orbit, Earth looked exactly as it had in old photographs, swirling clouds over oceans, continents stretching under sunlight, mountains rising in silent grandeur. Yet something felt off. Captain Jonah Mercer leaned forward in his seat, studying the displays. "All systems normal," he said, his voice calm but tinged with concern. "Atmosphere, gravity, magnetic field, nothing seems wrong." Dr. Elena Vargas, the ship's chief scientist, shook her head slowly. "It's more than that, Jonah," she said. "Look at the city lights. Where are they?" Jonah followed her gaze to the night side of the planet. There were none. Cities that had once been vibrant with millions of people now lay dark, empty, and silent. Not even the faint glow of electricity or traffic lights broke the darkness. "Could it be a glitch in the satellites?" he asked, though his voice betrayed doubt. Elena's hands hovered over the console. "I've cross-checked every feed. There's nothing. No humans, no animals. Even the ships in orbit report the same. The planet is empty." A heavy silence settled over the bridge. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Marcus Chen, the navigator, finally spoke. "Empty is impossible. We can't just be missing billions of people. Where did everyone go?" "No signs of evacuation either," Elena said. "No massive ships, no emergency signals, no lifeboats. It's as if the entire population vanished in an instant." The ship descended cautiously, entering the atmosphere. From above, the landscape looked surreal. Forests stretched in perfect green carpets. Rivers reflected sunlight like silver threads. Mountains and valleys rose and fell in familiar patterns. Everything seemed normal, except it wasn't. There was no movement, no birds, no wind carried the sound of distant life. Even the oceans, vast and alive with waves, appeared strangely muted, as if the world itself had gone still. As the ship landed on what had once been Manhattan, the crew felt a strange chill. The engines powered down, leaving the world in almost complete silence. The towering skyscrapers rose above them, familiar yet ghostly. Windows reflected the sunlight, but no one moved within them. Vehicles were abandoned mid-motion, some with doors open as though people had simply disappeared while walking or driving. The streets were eerily clean, free from debris or signs of decay, as if preserved in time. Elena stepped out first, her boots clicking against the smooth pavement. She stopped, listening to the silence, a sound so complete it almost hurt. "This doesn't make sense," she whispered. Jonah nodded. "It's like the city is frozen, but that energy spike we saw approaching orbit. Did you feel it? The instruments detected something unusual." Marcus scanned the surroundings. Not just the city. All of Earth. Even the forests and oceans are the same. Alive, but empty. Something's wrong. They moved cautiously through the streets. The sunlight was bright, reflecting off glass and steel, yet shadows seemed to shift in ways that did not match the angles of buildings or trees. Elena paused as she noticed a shadow on the pavement. It was faint but distinct, stretching toward her even though there was no one nearby. She took a step back. "Did you see that?" she asked. Marcus frowned. "See what?" It's like something is watching us," she said. Her voice was low, almost afraid. "I can feel it. Not outside, but inside, like the planet itself is aware of us." Jonah tried to suppress his own unease. It's probably just the stress, Elena. We've been out in space for a long time. Our minds are sensitive to new stimuli. Let's keep moving. As they explored, the crew discovered signs of life that had recently been there, but now were strangely incomplete. Half-eaten meals lay on tables. Computers hummed softly, screens frozen on paused images. Children's toys rested in parks, as if their owners had vanished mid-play. Yet there was no decay, no dust, no sign of time passing. The scene was hauntingly perfect, almost like a memory captured in space rather than a city abandoned. Elena knelt beside a tablet that flickered with a frozen video of a family dinner. The image was clear. "See," she said. Everything stopped suddenly. Not gradually, not over months or years. Whatever happened, it happened fast. Jonah's eyes narrowed. Then what caused it? A disaster? A war? Something we didn't detect from orbit? Before anyone could answer, the faint hum of energy pulses rippled through the streets. The instruments on the ship began picking up irregular readings, signals that resembled thought patterns. The crew gathered around, trying to understand. "Those aren't natural," Marcus said. "It's not weather, not tectonic. This is conscious. It's thinking, or observing." Elena's face paled. "That's impossible. You're saying the Earth itself is aware?" Jonah's jaw tightened. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it's not hostile. Not yet. Let's move carefully and gather more data." As they explored further, the crew found a quiet park. Trees swayed lightly in the wind, but there was no sound of birds or insects. Flowers bloomed, yet seemed untouched by anyone. A child's small bicycle lay against a tree, wheels frozen in mid-turn. Elena reached out to touch it and felt an odd vibration beneath her fingertips. The air around them felt thick, charged with something invisible. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught their eyes. Across the park, a shadow darted between the trees, barely perceptible. It was not human, not animal, yet it moved with purpose. Marcus pointed his scanner, but the reading was empty. "It's gone," he said. Elena frowned. "Gone, but it wasn't just a shadow. Something is following us, observing us. I can feel it." Jonah sighed. "We need to find a safe place to set up a base. Let's keep moving toward the old government buildings. If there's anyone or anything left, it will probably be there." As they approached the center of the city, the strange phenomena intensified. Shadows shifted in ways that defied logic. Whispers, soft and almost melodic, floated through the streets, yet no source could be found. Elena felt them brush against her mind, fragments of memories, faces she did not know, voices speaking words she almost understood. The crew's instruments picked up a massive surge of energy beneath the city. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. "That's it," Elena whispered. "Whatever is here, it's alive. It's watching us, learning from us." Marcus shivered. "Learning? Are you saying Earth is conscious?" Elena nodded. "Not just conscious. It holds the memories of humanity. It remembers us." Jonah's face was grim. "If that's true, we need to be careful. We don't know its intentions. It might not understand us fully, or it might see us as intruders." As night fell, the city transformed. Moonlight reflected off glass towers, casting long, strange shadows that seemed to reach for the crew. The wind whispered, carrying echoes of laughter, chatter, and footsteps. Marcus froze. "Did you hear that?" Elena nodded. "It's showing us fragments of the past. We're not alone here, Jonah. Even if there's no one in person, we are being watched." The crew set up a temporary base in what had once been a museum. They activated sensors and recording equipment, hoping to capture the strange energy readings. As they worked, the planet seemed to respond. Objects moved slightly when unobserved, and light bent in odd ways. The whispers grew louder, forming patterns the crew could almost understand. Jonah finally spoke. his voice tense. "We came back to our home, expecting comfort and familiarity. Instead, we found a world that remembers us, but in ways we don't fully understand. We must be careful. We cannot assume anything. This Earth is no longer just our home. It is something more." Elena looked out across the city skyline, shadows stretching endlessly. "And it is watching, waiting." As the night deepened, the crew realized the full weight of their situation. They were humans returned to a planet that was alive, aware, and filled with the echoes of those who once lived. Every sound they made, every step they took was observed. They were not alone, yet there was no one to see, only a consciousness vast, patient, and old as time itself. Sleep came fitfully. Dreams were invaded by fleeting images of the past, families walking through parks, children laughing in schoolyards, crowds cheering in stadiums, all paused, trapped in a moment that would never end. Elena woke with a start, the sensation of invisible eyes pressing upon her mind. Marcus whispered in the dark, "I don't know if I want to see more. What if it shows us things we're not ready to understand?" Jonah placed a reassuring hand on their shoulder. "We are explorers. This is what we do. Whatever this is, we will face it. Together." And yet, even as they vowed courage, a subtle, almost imperceptible pulse of energy swept through the city, as if the planet itself acknowledged them, not with hostility, but with quiet awareness. The Earth was empty, but its silence was alive, and it felt them in ways no human had ever experienced before. The crew did not yet know what had happened to humanity, nor did they understand the true nature of the Watcher beneath their feet. But one thing was certain: they were no longer simply visitors. They had returned to a home that had changed beyond recognition, a home that would reveal its secrets only to those patient enough to listen, careful enough to observe, and brave enough to face the unknown. As dawn broke over the silent city, the crew prepared to venture deeper into the mysteries of their home. The streets were still, the shadows long, and the air heavy with expectation. And somewhere, beneath the surface, Earth watched, learning, remembering, and waiting for the moment when its children would understand what it had become. The morning sunlight spilled over the empty city, painting the streets in shades of gold and silver. From the rooftop of their temporary base, the crew of the Aurora's Dawn gazed over Manhattan, trying to absorb the eerie stillness. Not a single bird stirred. The wind whispered softly, carrying no scent of smoke, exhaust, or human activity. The world felt frozen, yet there was a strange vitality in the silence, as if Earth itself was aware of every movement, every breath, every thought. Elena adjusted the sensors set along the perimeter. The energy readings they had detected the night before had intensified. Patterns flickered across the screens, rhythmic, almost deliberate. The data was unlike anything she had ever seen. "It's responding," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the hum of the equipment. "Whatever it is, it's not random. The planet is communicating, or at least it's trying to." Marcus leaned closer, tapping the screen. "It's forming shapes, almost like symbols. They don't match any language we know, yet they feel familiar, like they're part of us." Jonah studied the skyline, his face tense. "Part of us? What do you mean?" Elena shook her head slowly. "I don't know exactly, but it's as if the Earth remembers humanity. Every building, every street, every park, it's all preserved in some form, and now it's trying to show us something. I can't explain it fully yet." The crew decided to explore the city more thoroughly, mapping their route and documenting any signs of life or clues about the disappearance of humans. As they moved through streets frozen in time, small details unsettled them. Newspapers lay scattered, their headlines from decades ago, yet the ink looked fresh. A cafe still had coffee cups on the tables, steam curling upward as though a hand had just placed them there. In a small bookstore, Marcus knelt to examine a book left open on a shelf. The pages were worn, but a photograph embedded in the text flickered, almost like a moving image. A family smiled for the camera, waving at someone invisible. Marcus blinked rapidly. It's alive. Not in a normal sense, but it's moving. Like it remembers itself. Elena studied the photograph, her brow furrowed. This is what I mean. Earth isn't empty. It's holding memories, keeping them intact. Something preserved us. Or maybe we preserved ourselves in it without knowing. Jonah shook his head. Are we saying the planet is conscious, that it can remember people who lived here? I don't know how it works, Elena admitted. But I know it is watching us. That's not fear, it's awareness. It senses us the same way we sense it. And I think it's trying to tell us something. The crew split into teams to cover more ground. Elena and Marcus moved toward Central Park, while Jonah explored the surrounding buildings. In the park, sunlight filtered through trees, highlighting leaves that shone unnaturally bright, as if the planet had preserved them in perfect condition. A small pond reflected the sky, yet ripples formed even without wind or disturbance. Marcus bent down to touch the water, and for a moment, the surface shimmered like a mirror, showing not their reflections, but images of people walking through the park. Children ran and laughed, dogs barked, and families picnicked on the grass. Marcus jerked his hand back. Elena, this is unbelievable. It's showing us scenes from the past, real moments, maybe from before the disappearance. Elena knelt beside him. Not just the past, she said. It's memories. The planet is alive with them. It's storing everything like a library. Every person, every thought, every life is here in some form. A soft rustling caught their attention. They turned to see shadows moving between trees, but no one was there. The shadows twisted and bent unnaturally, responding to their movements. The sensors detected fluctuations in energy, patterns that matched the subtle gestures and emotions of the crew. Elena stepped back, a chill running down her spine. It's aware of us, she whispered. It's following our thoughts, our feelings. It knows who we are. Meanwhile, Jonah's exploration of a nearby government building revealed more evidence of Earth's strange memory. Computers and screens flickered with scenes of political meetings, speeches, and debates frozen mid-action. Notes and papers floated in the air as though held by invisible hands, then settled back in their original positions. Even the air felt thick with presence, as if past events lingered like ghosts that were not ghosts at all, but living memories. Jonah's communicator crackled. Elena? Marcus? Are you seeing this? Yes, Elena replied. Everything we touch, everything we look at, it's alive with history. The planet remembers humanity. Jonah's voice was low and tense. And it's watching us. I can feel it. Every step I take, it knows I'm here. Not like a spy, but like a parent watching a child it hasn't seen in years. That's the only way I can describe it. As the teams regrouped, Elena shared her observation. I think this planet became something more after humans disappeared. It absorbed our presence, our lives. It's not hostile, but it's alive in ways we can barely understand. The crew decided to test the planet's awareness. They placed objects in a square formation and moved away to observe. Within moments, the objects shifted slightly, forming a pattern that mimicked a human figure. Marcus gasped. It's responding to us, trying to communicate. But how? Elena studied the sensors. It's using energy, vibrations, thoughts. I think it can read intention and emotion. It senses us as individuals and as a collective. This isn't just memory storage. This is consciousness. The realization was both exhilarating and terrifying. They were no longer merely exploring Earth. They were interacting with a sentient planet, one that held the essence of every human who had lived there. That night, as the sun set and shadows stretched across the empty streets, the crew gathered in their base to discuss their next steps. Marcus looked out the window at the glowing city below. "We've never seen anything like this. We're not dealing with aliens or natural phenomena. We're dealing with Earth itself, alive, aware, watching us, and I have to admit, it's beautiful in a terrifying way." Elena nodded. "We must proceed carefully. Whatever it is, it's intelligent. If we act recklessly, we could destroy something incredible or harm ourselves. We need to understand before we interfere." Jonah leaned back in his chair. "Understanding is one thing. Survival is another. We don't know why humans vanished or if there's a danger we haven't seen. But we are here, and we can't ignore what we feel. The planet is aware of us. It's studying us, learning from us. And maybe it wants something from us too." Sleep came slowly for the crew. Dreams were filled with fleeting images of human life, celebrations, discoveries, simple acts of kindness and courage. Faces of people they had never met flickered like old photographs in motion. And always, in the background, there was the feeling of being watched, not with malice, but with curiosity. Elena awoke first, sensing a shift in the energy readings. The pulses were stronger, more focused. She checked the sensors, noting patterns that suggested communication attempts. "It wants us to understand," she murmured. "It's reaching out." Marcus stirred beside her. "Reaching out? You mean it wants to talk?" Elena nodded. "Yes. Not with words, at least not in a way we understand yet, but through thought, feeling, memory. It's trying to bridge the gap between us." Jonah joined them, looking at the screens. "If that's true, we need to prepare. We have no idea what will happen when it fully reveals itself. But we can't turn away. Humanity has always faced the unknown, and we've always found a way. This is just the next challenge." The crew spent the day mapping the city, recording energy readings, and testing interactions. They noticed that the more they acted with awareness and respect, the more responsive the planet became. Shadows seemed less erratic. Images in reflective surfaces appeared more vivid and coherent. The whispers, once fragmented and confusing, began to form patterns that suggested thought, almost language. By evening, the crew realized they were no longer observers. They were participants. Every movement, every thought, every emotion was acknowledged by Earth. It was as if the planet was alive not just in memory, but in interaction. Elena gazed at the sky, the stars reflecting in her eyes. We are not alone on our home planet. We never were. The essence of humanity lives here, preserved, waiting, watching, and now it is engaging with us. We must be careful, but we must also learn. This is an opportunity we cannot ignore. As night deepened, the city glowed faintly with energy, pulsing in rhythm with the crew's thoughts. The planet's presence was undeniable, vast and ancient. And in that quiet, the crew understood that Earth had become something extraordinary. A living archive of humanity, aware, patient, and waiting for its children to return. They slept under the watchful gaze of their home, knowing that tomorrow, their exploration would bring them closer to understanding the silent, sentient presence that had become their reality. And the Earth, empty yet full of life in ways they were only beginning to comprehend, waited patiently for the next step. The crew awoke to a world that felt alive in ways they could barely describe. The city no longer seemed frozen. It moved subtly, as if breathing with the rhythm of the planet. Shadows flowed gently along streets, bending and stretching as if aware of the humans walking among them. The soft hum of energy pulses surrounded them, filling the air like a heartbeat. Elena studied the readings carefully, her eyes widening at the patterns that were now unmistakably deliberate. "It's trying to communicate," she said, her voice low, almost reverent. "The pulses, the energy, it's a language. Or at least a form of thought. It wants us to understand something." Marcus rubbed his eyes, staring at the screens. "Understand what? Why are we here? Why is Earth alive like this?" Jonah remained silent for a moment, looking out across the empty city. The old skyline shimmered as if infused with energy, reflecting the sunlight in ways that made the glass and steel look almost liquid. "Maybe it wants to show us what we've lost," he said finally, "or maybe what we can become." They moved through the streets cautiously, noticing that the longer they stayed in one area, the more coherent the energy pulses became. Holographic-like images appeared around them, scenes of human life preserved in incredible detail. People walked, worked, laughed, and argued. Children played in parks, merchants sold food, scientists worked in laboratories. And yet, all of this was static, frozen in some invisible layer of time, like echoes captured by the planet itself. Elena reached out toward one of the images of a child laughing. Her hand trembled as the figure turned its head toward her, eyes bright and alive, though no sound came. "It's responding to me," she whispered. "It's aware of my attention, of my presence. It wants interaction." Marcus, always the skeptic, shook his head. "But how? There's no technology here doing this, no machines, no circuits. It's just Earth, alive, watching, learning." Jonah stepped forward. "Maybe we don't need to understand everything at once. We just need to be open to whatever this planet is, and whatever it's trying to show us." As they moved toward the United Nations headquarters, the energy pulses intensified. The building itself seemed to glow, light bending and twisting along its walls in strange patterns. Inside, the crew found the epicenter of the phenomenon, a vast chamber where the floor, walls, and ceiling pulsed with energy in rhythm with the city outside. Holographic images swirled through the air, forming faces, objects, and landscapes that shifted and changed with every step they took. Elena stepped cautiously into the center. "This is it," she said. "Whatever is controlling this, it's here." Suddenly, the room filled with a presence that was impossible to ignore. A pulsating form appeared in the center of the chamber, a glowing, shifting mass of energy that seemed alive with intelligence. The crew instinctively stepped back, unsure if they were facing a threat or a miracle. The mass expanded, taking shapes that suggested a form, vaguely humanoid, yet not human at all. It radiated warmth, curiosity, and a profound sense of awareness. Jonah swallowed hard. "Elena, Marcus, it's trying to speak." Elena closed her eyes, focusing on the energy. The mass seemed to respond to her concentration, sending waves of emotion, memory, and thought directly into her mind. She staggered slightly as images and feelings poured in. Humanity's history, triumphs, failures, moments of kindness, and acts of courage. All of it was preserved, vivid, and complete. "It's showing us everything," she murmured. "All of human history, and it wants us to understand ourselves." Marcus's eyes widened. "It's consciousness. Earth itself is conscious, and it contains the essence of everyone who ever lived here. Not just memory, but awareness." The mass pulsed again, more rapidly this time, as if acknowledging their comprehension. Elena felt a connection forming, a bridge between the human mind and the vast intelligence of the planet. Thoughts flowed between them, not in words, but in emotions, images, and understanding. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Jonah steadied himself. "We need to decide what to do next. We can't fully merge with it yet. We don't know the consequences, but we can observe, learn, and interact. carefully. The energy mass shifted, guiding them toward images of cities, forests, oceans, and mountains, showing how humanity had influenced the planet over centuries. It highlighted moments of ingenuity, cooperation, and discovery, as well as mistakes, conflicts, and losses. Every decision, every life, seemed to have left an imprint, a mark that the planet had absorbed and preserved. Elena realized the truth. The planet had become a living archive of humanity. It had learned, adapted, and preserved life in a form beyond biology. It was patient, waiting for the humans who had created it to return, to see the legacy they had left behind, and to understand the potential of what humanity could achieve. Marcus took a hesitant step closer. So, it's not hostile. It's teaching us? Guiding us? Elena nodded. Yes, but it's more than that. It's showing us what we are capable of. Our strengths, our compassion, our intelligence. It's reminding us who we are and who we could become. Jonah glanced at the shifting mass. And what if we fail to understand? What if we don't live up to it? The energy pulsed in a reassuring rhythm. A sensation that seemed to answer him without words. It conveyed patience, hope, and trust. The planet had watched, learned, and waited. It believed humanity could rise to the challenge. The crew spent hours immersed in the presence of the energy, absorbing knowledge and understanding at a pace that both exhilarated and exhausted them. They saw scientific discoveries, artistic creations, acts of bravery, and moments of love and empathy from every corner of Earth. They saw mistakes, wars, and failures, but the focus was not judgment. It was understanding, learning, and growth. Elena realized that the planet itself had evolved alongside humanity, absorbing the essence of life, thought, and emotion. It had become something greater than mere memory. It was a consciousness formed from the cumulative experiences of an entire species. It was alive in a way that no human mind could fully grasp, yet it was intimately connected to them, reflecting their potential, their morality, and their choices. As the day turned to night, the city outside glowed faintly, responding to the energy within the chamber. The crew felt a deep sense of connection, as if they were part of something far larger than themselves. The planet was alive, aware, and patient, waiting for them to understand, to learn, and to take the next step in humanity's evolution. Elena turned to her fellow crew members. "We are standing at a threshold," she said. "This is more than exploration. This is an opportunity to grow, to understand who we really are, and to see the potential of what we can become. But we must tread carefully. We cannot force it. We can only observe, learn, and respect what we are being shown." Marcus nodded slowly. "And what if it wants more than we are ready to give? What if it asks for something we can't provide?" Elena smiled faintly. "Then we learn patience, we learn humility, and we wait until we are ready. The planet is not a threat. It is a guide, and it has waited a very long time for us to return." Jonah looked out over the city, feeling a mixture of awe, fear, and hope. "We have never faced anything like this, not in all of human history. But we are explorers. We seek understanding, knowledge, and connection. That is what makes us human. And now, we have the chance to understand ourselves in a way no one ever has." The energy mass shifted again, sending waves of emotion and memory through the room. The crew felt their minds expand, understanding more in minutes than they could have in years. They saw connections between humans, between ideas, and between the choices that had shaped the world. They felt the weight of history, the responsibility of knowledge, and the power of empathy and cooperation. As the night deepened, the crew realized that Earth's consciousness was not just a reflection of the past. It was a guide to the future. It had preserved humanity's essence, yes, but it was also showing them potential paths forward. It was teaching them what they could become, individually and collectively. Elena felt a profound sense of awe. "We are not just observers," she said. "We are participants. Every thought we have, every choice we make is acknowledged. We are part of this consciousness now, whether we like it or not. And that is both terrifying and beautiful." Marcus stepped closer to the energy mass, hesitating for only a moment before placing his hand near its surface. A shock of understanding passed through him, as if he could feel the lives of millions, the choices of countless generations flowing into him. "It's incredible," he whispered. "We are connected, all of us, and it's showing us that we are capable of more than we ever imagined." Jonah watched his crew, seeing the wonder in their eyes, and felt a swell of pride. Humanity had returned to its home, expecting to find familiarity, yet it had found something far greater. The planet itself was alive, aware, and ready to guide them toward a future that was both unknown and full of promise. As dawn approached, the city pulsed gently with energy, a heartbeat that resonated with the crew's own. The presence of Earth was no longer abstract or distant. It was immediate, intimate, and profoundly powerful. And in that moment, the crew understood that their journey was only beginning. They were no longer simply humans exploring their home. They were part of something larger, something alive, something that held the collective potential of humanity in its awareness. The planet watched, remembered, and guided. And the crew, brave and curious, would take the next steps, learning from the past to shape a future that was truly their own. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the tall buildings, casting long shadows across the streets of the empty city. The crew of the Aurora's dawn felt a calm, almost sacred energy in the air. The Earth's consciousness, which they had come to understand as the Watcher, pulsed around them in gentle waves. It was no longer distant or hidden. It was present, aware of them, and responsive to their thoughts. For the first time since their arrival, the crew felt a sense of belonging, yet the weight of responsibility lingered in every heartbeat. Elena stood in the center of the chamber at the United Nations headquarters, focusing on the Watcher. The energy responded instantly, rippling outward, sending images of humanity across centuries. She saw scientists discovering cures, artists painting masterpieces, engineers building cities, and ordinary people helping one another in quiet, unrecorded acts of kindness. The Watcher showed her both the brilliance and the fragility of humanity, and the knowledge filled her with awe. Marcus approached cautiously, his eyes scanning the pulsing energy. "It's incredible," he said. "It holds everything we've ever done, all of humanity, preserved, remembered, and now it's showing us what we can become." Elena nodded. "It isn't just showing us the past, Marcus. It's giving us guidance. It's teaching us about the potential we've always carried, even when we didn't realize it." Jonah, standing slightly apart, watched the interplay of energy and images with careful consideration. "So, the choice is ours," he said quietly. "We can learn from this, take what we understand, and use it to guide humanity's future, or we can ignore it and leave, unchanged. The Watcher isn't forcing anything. It's offering knowledge, understanding, and opportunity." The crew felt the weight of the moment. They had returned to a home that was no longer merely a planet, but a living consciousness, holding the essence of everyone who had ever lived there. It was a chance to connect, to grow, and to witness humanity in its entirety. And yet, the decision was theirs alone. Elena raised her hands, sensing the energy respond to her attention. "I think we can do more than observe," she said. "We can interact, learn from it directly, even integrate some understanding into ourselves. But we must do it carefully. We cannot rush." Marcus hesitated. Integrate? What does that mean? Are we talking about merging with it? Elena looked at him thoughtfully. Not fully, at least not yet, but a partial connection. To feel the collective wisdom, the history, the knowledge. To experience humanity as it exists within the Watcher. It won't harm us. But it will change us. We'll carry a piece of it forward. Jonah considered this in silence. It's risky. We don't know the consequences fully, but we've faced unknowns before. We explore. We learn. We adapt. That is what makes humanity strong. If this is an opportunity to grow in understanding, we should take it. The crew positioned themselves in the center of the chamber. Elena focused her thoughts on the Watcher, imagining a bridge between her mind and the consciousness around them. Slowly, a warm, tingling sensation spread through her body. Marcus followed her lead, and Jonah hesitated for only a moment before opening himself to the connection. Instantly, the chamber was filled with waves of understanding. Images, emotions, and memories flowed into their minds. They felt what countless humans had felt, saw what they had seen, and understood what they had learned. Scientific discoveries, artistic creations, moments of bravery and acts of compassion. All of it streamed into their consciousness simultaneously. It was overwhelming, yet not frightening. The Watcher guided the flow, ensuring that they could absorb it without being lost. Elena gasped as a vision of Earth before the disappearance appeared. She saw people bustling through cities, children laughing in playgrounds, scientists working tirelessly, and ordinary humans performing quiet acts of kindness. The energy around them emphasized the patterns of thought, the connections between humans, and the consequences of their actions. She realized that the Watcher had preserved not only memories, but also the lessons of humanity, carefully selecting what to show to guide understanding. Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the collective emotions of millions. Joy, fear, hope, and determination washed over him in waves. He understood the interconnectedness of human life, how every choice affected countless others. I understand, he whispered. The Watcher isn't just preserving us. It's showing us how we grow, how we can do better. Jonah, usually reserved, found himself overwhelmed by insight. He saw the mistakes humanity had made, the conflicts and misunderstandings that had shaped history. Yet he also saw resilience, cooperation, and the power of compassion. The Watcher did not judge. They understood. They only guided, preserving lessons and potential. Hours passed in what felt like moments. The crew absorbed knowledge that would take years to fully comprehend. The energy pulsed around them, a living, breathing reminder that Earth itself was aware of them, that humanity's essence was alive in ways they had never imagined. Finally, Elena withdrew slightly, allowing herself to catch her breath. "We've experienced so much," she said softly. "The Watcher has shown us our past, our potential, and the choices we face. But it also wants us to act, to carry this knowledge forward, to help humanity grow beyond what it has been." Marcus looked around the chamber, his eyes shining with wonder. "We've been given a gift, understanding ourselves, our history, and our potential. This is more than any exploration mission. This is a chance to become better humans." Jonah stepped forward. "And we will. But first, we must decide how to share this knowledge. We cannot impose it on others, but we can guide, teach, and inspire. The Watcher has given us wisdom, and now it's our responsibility to ensure humanity learns from it." The energy mass pulsed, responding to their thoughts. It was as if it understood their agreement and approved of their decision. The connection deepened once more, not as a flood of memories, but as a steady, guiding presence. The Watcher conveyed trust, patience, and hope. It wanted humanity to continue, not merely survive, but to thrive and grow in understanding. The crew spent the next days documenting everything they could. They mapped the energy patterns, recorded the visions and interactions, and carefully observed how the Watcher responded to their thoughts. Each step was deliberate. Every action was guided by respect, curiosity, and humility. The planet's consciousness responded in kind, revealing deeper layers of understanding, ecological balance, the potential of science when paired with empathy, and the power of collaboration across continents and generations. One evening, as the sun set and cast long shadows across the city, Elena felt a sudden clarity. "We don't need to leave all of this behind," she said. "We can take the knowledge, carry it back to the colonies, and help humanity thrive. But we also need to stay connected, even from afar. The Watcher will remain here, guiding us silently as we learn and grow." Marcus smiled. "It's like having a mentor who has lived every life, seen every choice, and remembers every lesson. And it trusts us to carry its wisdom forward. That's incredible." Jonah nodded, a sense of resolve in his eyes. "We are the bridge now, between the past and the future, between Earth and humanity among the stars. We will share what we've learned, inspire understanding, and help our species reach its potential. That is why we returned." The Watcher pulsed one final time, brighter and more vibrant than before. The energy flowed through the city, through the chamber, and into the hearts and minds of the crew. It was an affirmation, a blessing, and a reminder that humanity was never truly alone, even when the world seemed empty. As they prepared to leave the city, the crew felt a profound connection to Earth. The planet was alive, aware, and patient. It had waited for them, observed them, and guided them toward understanding. And now, as they boarded the Aurora's dawn, they carried a piece of that consciousness with them, a reminder that humanity's legacy was preserved and that the future could be brighter than any past. Elena looked out over the city one last time. Shadows danced gently across the streets, and the air pulsed with life. The planet seemed calm, yet alive with infinite possibilities. She felt a deep gratitude, a sense of awe that words could not capture. Humanity had returned to a home that was more than a planet. It was a living, thinking, remembering presence. And now, humanity could grow with it, learn from it, and continue its journey among the stars with a wisdom never before imagined. Marcus joined her, his expression a mixture of wonder and hope. "Do you think humanity is ready for this?" he asked softly. Elena smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the city. "We will never be fully ready," she said, "but that's the point. The Watcher is here to guide us, to remind us, to help us grow, and we will rise to the challenge, together. That is what it means to be human." Jonah activated the ship's engines, lifting the Aurora's dawn gently from the ground. As they ascended into the sky, the city stretched below them, bathed in the golden light of morning. The Watcher pulsed softly, a constant heartbeat beneath their feet, an eternal presence of life, memory, and hope. The crew looked back at their home, knowing it would always be there, watching, learning, and waiting. They had returned to an Earth that was more than a planet. It was a living testament to humanity. And now they carried that knowledge with them, ready to share it with the stars. As they soared into orbit, leaving the empty yet alive city behind, the crew understood the truth that the Watcher had revealed. Humanity was capable of greatness, resilience, and wisdom far beyond what they had ever imagined. And Earth, silent yet aware, would always be there, a patient guardian and guide, waiting for the day humanity would truly understand its place among the stars. The Aurora's dawn departed into the vastness of space, but part of the crew's hearts remained on their home planet, forever connected to the consciousness that had watched, remembered, and guided them. Humanity had returned to an empty Earth, only to discover it was never truly empty at all. It was alive, and it had been waiting,